Hello, my name is Nathan Kingston, and this is my final 8-week photographing physics project. And through these 8 weeks, I feel like I was able to understand some more physics and science, and like taking photos, using those techniques. I hope you enjoy, and if you haven't seen my photos yet, here they are. So first off, we did physics of lighting, which I discovered this concept and how it works and what makes it work with the photo that I took. The photo I took is at the UPMC Event Center, which is on campus here. It's the new event center we have. And I was trying to capture the lighting coming off of the floor and the lighting coming from this giant LED whiteboard. So, for instance, the photo shows the stadium lights reflecting off the wax floor and the LED sign also reflecting. Some of the earliest accent of light reflections originate from ancient Greece, actually. When a ray of light approaches a smooth, polished surface and the light ray bounces back, it is called the reflection of light. The incident light ray that lands on the surface is reflected off the surface, and the ray that bounces back is called the reflected ray. Moving on to the next thing, physics of color. With this, I ended up taking a picture at a pirate game that I went to earlier this semester, and I just love the color of this picture. If you go to all the color in the background to all the color in the foreground of all the different fans and all the different colors they're wearing, especially if you go more towards the field. The closer to the field, I feel you can see more color because there's more fans there. Of course, this is PNC Park, and there's not a lot of not a lot of people go to Pirates games because the Pirates are not too good. But anyway, I did enjoy this week because it kind of built off of with light and color, and that's this one you can see a lot of black up in especially the top of the photo, because the shadows and everything, and especially the bottom corners, and of course the PNC Park screen. So moving on to physics of reflection. This one is a photo I took lake surface over a weekend, I believe. Yes, yeah, over the weekend. And it's you can really tell that the lake is almost like a mirror to the trees in the background. It almost, like if you were to flip the photo, you may not be able to tell the difference besides the ripples in the water, that is. A common example of reflection is reflected light from a mirror or a still pool of water, but reflection affects the other types of waves besides light. If a ray of light could be observed approaching and reflecting off of a flat mirror, then the behavior of the light as it reflects would follow a predictable law known as the law of reflection. It just so happens that the light that travels along the line of sight to your eye follows the law of reflection. If you were to sight along a line at a different location than the image location, it would be possible for a ray of light to come from the object to reflect off the mirror according to the law of reflection and subsequently travel to your eye. And that's reflection for me. Moving over to depth, this photo I actually took in the lower lobby of my building, my apartment building that I'm in this year. And there's this like small like meeting study room in there, and I found this one folding chair. It was actually sitting on this table, folded up, and I decided to open it, and I took the picture. Going on to depth in this photo, the chair is obviously in the foreground, while the rest of the room is completely in the back. And the main focus, I feel like, is really on the chair because of where it's at. So that is my physics of depth in my photo that I took. Moving on. Physics of framing. So in this photo, I took also in the lower part of my building. It is going through the window of one of the doors, and it looks into a foosball table, actually. So I did like this one because it really isolates the table going through the window, of course. So all photographs contain one or more subjects. As a photographer, you can see a subject or scene that you wish to photograph. You point the camera as a general direction, compose, and release the shutter. A great many of us standing when we do this will raise the camera to our eye and take the photograph. Not all photographs need to be taken from the eye level or from top, or nearly should be changing viewpoint. If not, great to enhance composition. It might make your photograph stand out from all the other ones that are eye level. What happens when you change your viewpoint, the background and foreground, change it, and you can change your elevation. Kneel down, take a photo, or hold the camera above your head and shoot down on your subject. Move right, move left, go aside, your subject or behind them, get closer, get further away, roll diagonally, roll on or left. Notice how the background shifts. Notice how things are added to or eliminated from the foreground. Most importantly, notice how the photograph you capture is no longer something that a casual passerby would see. Okay, I mean, you wouldn't really see this unless you're, directly looking through this window. Because, no, some of us, when we open a door, we usually don't look through that window. So that's why I kind of grabbed this one. Moving on to I did physics of the human eye focus, and I wanted to show this through focusing on the foreground and not really on the background. I had taken two of these photos, one of which was in focus, which was the building in the background, which is the rec center. The rec center, which was in focus, and then I also took this one where the grass in the foreground was in focus, which I like this one more. Moving on to that, the first layer of the eye that light hits is the cornea, the surface of the eye. The cornea is a dome-shaped lens that starts the process of focusing light, contributing approximately 2/3 of the eye, focusing power. But the cornea is like the lens in the eyeglasses. It reflects light the same amount, unlike the lens of a camera, which can focus on different depths. The shape of the cornea is maintained by this one part of your eye. And then moving on, the pupil, the black spots in the middle of the iris is actually just a hole in the iris, which can contract or relax to adjust the size of the pupil. In a low light, the pupil expands to allow more light into the eye. In bright light, it contracts to protect the eye and increase contrast. Behind the pupil lies the crystalline lens, which is responsible for focusing light. The lens can change in focal length, like a camera, actually, just like this photo. This is what allows you to focus close up on the book or far away at the horizon, or not. Not both at the same time, of course. That's an example, of course. To switch from one to the other, the lens actually bends and changes shape because of contractions in the muscles in your eye. So, moving on, I did the physics of moonlight. In this photo, it's actually I took down the street near my house, actually, and I really wanted to catch this moon. And I wanted to make sure everything didn't look blown out, but you could actually see it was in the foreground and everything. So moving on, unlike a lamp or our sun, the moon doesn't produce its own light. The moonlight is actually sunlight that shines on the moon and bounces off. The light reflects off all these different things on the moon's surface. And the moonlight steals color from wherever it touches. Regard a rose. In a full moonlight, the flower is brightly lit and even casts a shadow, but the red is gone, replaced by shadows of gray. In fact, the whole landscape is that way. It's a little like seeing the world through an old black and white TV set, even. But with the filter I use on my camera here, you can still see some of the colors popping through, especially the green. Film producers often put a blue filter over their lens when filming night scenes to create a more natural feel, and the artists add blue to paintings of nightscapes for the same reason. Yet if you look up at the full moon, it is certainly not blue. Moonlight won't let you read. Open a book beneath the full moon. At a first glance, the page seems bright enough, yet when you try to make out the words, you can't. Moreover, if you stare too long at the word, it might fade away. Moonlight not only blurs your vision, but also makes a little blind spot. Moving on to my final image of week 8. For this topic, I chose perspective. So this is another photo inside of the event center that I took this past week. I really wanted to get the perspective, almost like that, like the bug on the floor or the mouse running by. Of course, I don't think there's any mouse in the event center. I really hope there's not. Anyway, for this week, I chose perspective. So the image I chose was of the event center, of course. Now for the part we're all here for, of course, the way of physics explained in this photo. It's interesting to note that the photography is very much of an illusion, of course. Since photography is a two-dimensional platform, all images are simply illusions of the three-dimensional scene. What this means is that photography is all about recreating a three-dimensional world in a flat two-dimensional image. This is accomplished by using depth and or scale, such as what I'm doing now, to give photographs a sense of perspective. It's easy to create flat, uninspiring images. Since photographs are two-dimensional, it is your job to use the elements at hand to add a sense of depth into your images. A good composition involves the challenge of translating a complex scene into a two-dimensional image, one that has a sense of depth, just as it would if you were looking at it in the real life. Changing your viewpoint is a photographer's great advantage. We see the world from eye level, and that eye level is probably the same to all adults. The photographer, however, can give us a child's eye view of scene, a bird's eye view, or even a viewpoint that is literally unique to the camera, as a human eye cannot physically reach the position. And we use this freedom with an advantage to make images from creative viewpoints. So, like I said, I want to try to go for that, like that little speck on the floor, that bug on the floor, a mouse on the floor. So these are my eight photos. I know for the 8th week I did add 2, but I wanted to make sure you could see from a landscape and from a vertical perspective in this. So I just want to say thank you very much. I'm very glad I took this class, and I had fun taking photos and breaking them down and trying to find a photo that would explain the topic I was doing that week. So thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed, and thank you for listening. Goodbye.